But where our hearts truly lie is in peace and quiet and good-tilled earth, for all hobbits share a love of all things that grow. I must have been 13 or 14 years old when I watched the Lord of the Rings trilogy for the first time, introduced to me by my dad. As a longtime lover of fantasy and exciting adventures with sword fights and an epic soundtrack, this trilogy struck a chord with me. And even though I wished to be as graceful as an elf or as brave as a rider of Rohan, I knew deep in my heart that I never resonated more with any other creature than a hobbit. I've always been a Frodo or a Bilbo at heart, even before I knew of their existence. I seeked into building bonfires, walking barefoot through the dirt, creating a comfortable home filled with books and blankets, and baking treats during the weekend for myself and my loved ones. I've been living in one of the biggest cities of the Netherlands for more than 5 years now. And even though I have always felt like she welcomed me with open arms, she and I both know that this is not the place where I want my roots to grow into the ground. I'm bound here by my studies at the Art Academy, but I want to find my own little cottage in the countryside as soon as I have my degree. In the summer of 2019, the idea of moving houses started to form in my head because I just couldn't stand living on the 5th floor above the railway tracks any longer. I wanted a place where I could literally feel the ground underneath my feet. A house instead of a flat. But what I wanted most of all was a garden. I was missing the feeling of dirt on my hands, of hard labor and fresh air, and I dreamed of growing my own pumpkins. I knew though that the chances of having a garden as a student in this city were pretty small. My mum lovingly tried to talk me out of it, afraid that I was only going to be disappointed. A garden was considered a luxury, but I wanted it so badly, even a small balcony would do. I was thinking about my future garden every day. I bought garden gloves, pretending I was already owning one. I made a Pinterest board and I bought books about growing vegetables. I wrote about it in my diary and told everyone I knew about my wish. Then one night, I was invited to a viewing. A lovely room with a balcony on the 2nd floor. I immediately felt a connection between me and my, little did I know, soon-to-be housemates. The room went to someone else. Several months went by and my focus shifted for a bit towards finding an internship. But out of the blue, they contacted me and wanted to know if I was still interested in living with them. When they offered me the biggest room of the house, on the ground floor, connected to the garden, I was over the moon. I moved into my new place the beginning of February this year and started working on the garden whenever I had a spare moment. The timing couldn't be more perfect and strange because the pandemic kicked in and messed everything up a couple of weeks later. I had to continue my internship from home, but was so glad that I could have my lunch breaks between the newly sown seeds and spring flowers. More than ever, I experienced firsthand how nurturing working in a garden can be. How lovely it is to be surrounded by trees and to be able to watch the birds make their nests. To see and feel and hear and smell how the world, each morning, over and over again, comes to life. During my first season of gardening, I learned a great deal about making mistakes, letting go, and forgiveness. You can plant a seed into the earth, give it water, give it sunlight, and you pray for a bountiful harvest. But that is all that you can do. Mother Nature is a force of its own. She is as ruthless as she is forgiving. A seed already carries its potential before you plant it, and you can pour your whole heart and soul into taking care of it. Sometimes it just doesn't want to grow. Or the little sprout suddenly dies. Plants can become ill, can drown, can burn, or in my case, can get eaten by a slug. Or several slugs. Make that at least 30 slugs in one square every day. There were days when I felt like giving up. I was eating lettuce every single day for almost a month during April, but I couldn't grow one radish. Not one single radish, for a reason unknown to me. I was successful at growing all kinds of herbs, beans, flowers, strawberries and lettuces, but I did not grow the pumpkin I dreamed of this year. Does it matter? Does it make me sad? No. Not only because it was my trial year of gardening, not because I made a lot of beginner mistakes. It doesn't matter because being able to fulfill my dream was already enough for me. Everything else was simply a gift. I also realized that the weather or the amount of slugs or the quality of every single seed was out of my hands. So what was the point of beating myself up for the little failures? I cannot even call it a failure anymore, it just doesn't feel like that. Working in my little garden gave me such a sense of fulfillment and peace. It's so insanely beautiful to see how a seed grows into a plant, to be able to pick some fresh herbs for your dinner or know that you are helping out the bees a little bit by growing a variety of flowers. And I know that this is only the start of my shire-like life. The day I grow my first pumpkin on my own homestead is the day I'd die a happy hobbit.